As a student athlete, life can be pretty demanding. Fortunately, I can always count on Fareway to help me refuel and bounce back. It's why this is right where I want to be. Fareway, your home court advantage.
Hey guys, don't mind us. Here at Reaction Time, we have a special guest. Ben, would you like to introduce him?
Sure. This is longtime listeners may know him and remember him, but this is my dog Coda. He's been on the podcast since we first started, back when we were doing Zoom. But then we got the studio. He started coming on less often because I didn't bring him places. But today is his daycare day, so I picked him up from daycare, and that's why he's here. Yeah,
and you guys caught me as I was trying to take a photo of him. For those who prefer to listen to the audio versus video, but hey, it's Cyhawk week. It's our favorite. Would we say it's our number one favorite, or is March our favorite?
So I was going to say it'd be my second favorite week of the year.
Yeah.
Behind NCAAs.
Yeah.
Barely in front of Big 12s.
Valid. Exciting week for us to sit here and preview this weekend's big matchup between number 6 Iowa State, number 3 Iowa.
Yeah.
I love and hate that it comes so fast.
I know. It's fun for an early season test, and like generally both teams are pretty healthy. Mm-hmm. So you generally, again, get most of the guys. On that same token, if someone is a little bit banged up, they tend to get held out. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 with that. Like, the teams are mostly healthy, but they might not wrestle even if they're healthy enough. So that's a little bit disappointing. But like, there's always so many, and we talk about this all the time, antics with this duel, with the lineups. Like when I have Iowa's probables in my hands. This is a piece of paper. When I saw their probables only list 1 or, I'm just like, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
Brands will throw something else out there. Like the only or is not at 157. I know they got a really highly ranked 125 recruit. I could see him being thrown out there. There's a few other things that I could see. So it's just one of those things. And Iowa State does have more ors, which is what I would expect. Like at 125, Steve O'Poulin or Christian Castillo. And Christian Castillo, similar to Iowa's 125 pounder, very highly rated recruit.
Yeah.
So Castillo will redshirt this year. But that's one. It's like, oh yeah, Dresser was being forthright with that. That could happen. Brands, he's keeping his cards close to his chest, which hey, fair. But there will be antics, which I love.
Which Dresser addressed.
Did he?
He mentioned how there's always, these little antics, and he fully expects that there will be some going into the weekend. And I mean, that's why we love the sport, right? It's a little different in the way it's executed and the way you see the way we do with football, right? The injury reports, everybody's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think these aren't 100%, but no, in wrestling, it's always just a little extra dramatic like everything else.
Yep.
And so, yes, I posted the probables. You guys can find them online. I think anyone has shared them at this point. And yeah, nothing surprised me. So like you said, who knows what the heck they'll do on Sunday. But Christian Castillo is the number one that I would say is an interesting one just because, people at Media Day had a lot of really good things to say about him. So an exciting one. So it's like, I said the other day that I was excited I don't have to drive to Iowa City, but then I also get like a different set of like anxiety going into it when it's in Hilton. Don't know why. Regardless of how unbiased I try to be, it's just a nerve-wracking experience. Yeah. And I think today, whenever you guys finally listen to this podcast, Tuesday when we had media availability, I just feel like I had a moment of perspective of like, we live in such a silo in Iowa because this is the way it's always been. It was the first thing I learned when I moved to Iowa was how important wrestling is, because I don't even think I'd been at my new school when I moved to Iowa, literally for a week before someone had already approached me about getting involved in wrestling. Like I think some guy on the team was like, you should try it for the cheerleading team. And I did it. I ended up, that's how I became a manager. But it's just like, we live in it that this is just like, oh, it's another big fun weekend. But all eyes are going to be on Ames. I don't even know what else is on the schedule for Sunday, but I feel like every single wrestling fan's going to have their eyes on.
Well, they will, because it'll be on ESPN too. So for those that aren't aware, it'll be on ESPN. If you can't make it to Hilton, tune into ESPN. And it speaks to your point. Oklahoma State has had duels on ESPN too, but no other school has hosted ESPN for a wrestling meet before besides Iowa State. Obviously, Iowa has a Big Ten network, so they can't really host, but that's their own problem. So what Jacqueline's point is just so well reflected in the fact that ESPN is now here for the third time.
Yeah.
Like, they've gotten such strong viewership, and it's Sunday at noon. So, like, what else is on, besides football?
I was going to say.
But ESPN does not air that. So,
Right.
At least at that time slot. So they're trying to find something. And it's like, yeah, the whole wrestling community will tune into this. And if you look at NCAA's numbers, that's going to be, 800, 900,000 people. And that's pretty good for a Sunday afternoon that's competing with the NFL. So, yeah, it's going to be super fun. And if you have time on Sunday, if your favorite team's game is going poorly or they're playing in one of the later slots, tune into the Iowa State duel, because it will be electric this year.
Listen, you guys can't tell me many of you are tuning in for Saints and Dolphins. I can see why you guys will be watching Texans Colts.
Yeah, Iowa State ties there.
But I know you guys. You all have multiple TVs.
Yeah.
You pay for the fancy split screen on the NFL package or whatever you can do.
Yeah, YouTube TV.
Yeah. Just go ahead and add the wrestling duel on the other one.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of really good matches. There's a lot of top 10 matchups. And I just think it's going to be a barn burner.
It will be.
So should we just jump right into
Let's
it?
jump into it.
All right. Hit me with which matchup you're looking forward to the most. And it can't be Younger Bastida.
Yeah, we'll get to Younger. I think the matchup I'm looking forward to most is at 149. Either Panero Johnson or Jacob Frost versus Ryder Block. Ryder Block was a 3-time Iowa State champion. Actually beat Jacob Frost in the state finals their senior year 2-0. Now, Jacob Frost is a vastly different wrestler than he was in high school. Aiden and I were talking about this before we started recording. Jacob Frost is a different wrestler right now than he was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Jacob Frost is an All-American. He is a very, very good wrestler. Ryder Block for Iowa has been battling a lot of injuries in his collegiate career. Is finally healthy and has shot up to, I think, like number 10, right? Yeah, number 10. And he's had some really solid wins. So that's, I think, going to be a really fun test for either Jacob or Panero. I think Dresser has, it's an or, but Panero won the first wrestle off. Jacob won the last 2 wrestle offs. And I think Dresser had a little bit to say about how that position, how that battle is going.
Well, that's that's kind of an evolving situation, and I try to be as transparent as I can. We got 2 great options. We just had some wrestle-offs recently, and as of right now, Jacob Frost has earned the spot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're 100% sure that we're going to wrestle who we're going to wrestle on Sunday. So we'll see what happens there. But it's been a back and forth. Panero won the first one. We always like to go 2 out of 3s. And Jacob won the second and won in the third one. So there's your scoop for the day. But, we're in a good situation where we've got 2 guys that can really, really help us. And they both are healthy right now, and they're both wrestling really well. And so we'll keep running the train down the tracks and see what happens.
Well, and Dresser also gave great insight in that, he was a little surprised that Jacob came in and beat Panero these last 2 times, and said if we had asked him, I think like a week ago, he would have leaned that it'd be Panero.
Right.
And I think that's probably just kind of a testament of probably his mental, right? You look at a duel like the Cyhawk, you don't want to be on the bench.
Nope.
You want to be in there. And Jacob's an All-American. He's probably like, I don't want to sit this one out. So maybe whatever little bump he was having in getting that win over Pinheiro, who's been very good so far.
Mm-hmm.
He just got, he made something click to get the win over him. And I am curious who he ends up throwing out there.
Mm-hmm.
But like we've been kind of talking about, it's like you look at Ryder Block as an opponent, and I think we both favor almost having Jacob go into face off against him.
And Pinheiro's ranked number 2 as a side note here. Like Pinheiro's the number 2 ranked wrestler in the nation. And we are both saying that we'd rather have Jacob Frost out there right now. And I stand behind that.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable with Jacob.
And I think a lot of it too for me is just like their styles.
Exactly. Agreed.
Because I know Pinheiro is a top guy, and I know he has it in him. I've sat front row to his biggest wins, some of them I should say. But then I've also seen what can happen.
Yep.
And if we just kind of like remove everything we know about these guys and strictly stick to the wrestling, I just think there's something in Jacob's style that could just be the right formula to go in against someone like Ryder Block,
Agreed.
Who's a number 10 guy in the country, who's a very difficult matchup. I just think Jacob could get the upper hand.
Yep. I think, Pinheiro could absolutely win that match. I have no doubt about that. The problem is he's just been so inconsistent in his career. Like he has these incredible wins, and then he just has the matches. Even where he wins, it's 3-1 win with 1 takedown. It's like, Pinheiro, you can do so much more than that. And then he does have those losses too, where he loses 3-1 because he didn't shoot. And it's like, where's the disconnect at?
Yeah.
And I think, again, he can still be a great wrestler. He might be the guy in March, and he might have an incredible run. But right now, I feel more comfortable with Jacob.
And maybe it's because maybe it's recency bias, right? Like we just watched Jacob go have a phenomenal tournament. He completely surprised us when he stepped into that role, and maybe we just haven't seen enough of Pinheiro. Maybe we just still have the sour taste in our mouths from
The problem is we've seen him twice now in NCAAs, and both times he's had tough tournaments. So
it's just
and again, he can still turn it around. But
he can, and they're both very capable, and they're both very good guys. And Dresser said exactly that. Like he said, they're both really, really good, and it's definitely a hard choice. But I think when you have 2 really, really good guys, you have to go with the one that's style. And I think that's kind of where you have to go, right? You got to pick whose style is going to match up best to get you the win, because every single point is going to matter in this duel. You don't really have a lot of room to gamble.
No.
You got to be so strategic, and we've seen how that can backfire, right? I remember, was it Gaetan's first year? Threw him in there
against Nelson Brands.
Completely caught us off guard. And Dresser said, he's like, I wanted to throw a wild card. I thought his funky style would be just enough to throw him off, because he lost.
He lost badly.
Okay.
He lost by major decision.
But again, it's like, you got to pick and choose how you gamble. And in that one, because who would it have been otherwise?
I don't remember.
Oh, gosh. I wish I remembered, because I bet you that's exactly what happened. Whoever it was at the time, I don't remember now.
I think that speaks to who it was.
Yeah.
Someone not great. Apologies.
Aiden,
former 174-pounder.
I'm going to feel really bad. But no, and I have the full answer on Twitter if you guys want to go see
Julian
it.
Broderson.
You think so?
I think it was before he bumped up to 187. I think it was Broderson.
Well, you got to play. You got to play the game here. And this is one of those where you can't. I guess that's also a good point to make to more of like the casual fans, that when you look at a duel like this and you look at the lineup and some of the coaching decisions that are made on who ends up ultimately going out on the mat, sometimes it really is about like strategy and playing chess. And sometimes you might catch yourself being surprised by who goes out there.
Yep.
So, but no, I think 149 is a really good choice. I am super pumped for Connor Uten and Michael Caliendo.
Amen.
Phenomenal wrestlers, both of them, right? You have Caliendo, who has proven himself. You have his whole track record of his accolades and what what he brings to the mat. He's number 3 in the nation. Connor Uten, Dresser also brought this up. He was like, his rankings are all over the place, and he's not wrong. I actually did have that thought this morning. People just haven't seen him enough.
Yep.
But we know he's a weapon.
He is.
And so I am so excited to see him go up against him, against a guy like Michael Caliendo. We should have queued that video up of Tom Brandt saying Caliendo.
Caliendo.
I'm excited to see him get back out there healthy. Please, no torn ACLs again. But he battled.
He was right there.
He literally fought until the last second. And I didn't even know he had a torn ACL.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
Like, that's what kind of crazy person he is. That
He's
he
a
can
warrior.
Do that.
Yeah.
So I bet he's so hungry for blood. And then watching him be so upset in the home opener because he didn't get a tech fall.
Yep.
He's
wired different.
Yes.
And we didn't know anything about him before last year. And we're like, who's this Connor Uten kid? And why are people talking about him? It's like, I'm not sold. That Caliendo match alone sold me on him. It's like, this guy's a dude. Like, not a blue chip recruit, not one of the top guys in the nation coming out of high school, but you can't judge crazy. And he has the right kind of crazy. And it's just it just drives him. And it's those kind of guys who you can be like, yeah, he's going to turn himself into an All-American. I don't know that it's this year.
Yeah.
But I would bet money that assuming health, Connor Uten becomes at least a one-time All-American in his Iowa State career.
Well, and I think Iowa State fans will have a lot of fun watching him because of
so
that.
much fun. Dude's a grinder.
Yes. And Dresser said it himself. He's like, you always kind of pick a guy in your room who's the hardest worker. And he said that Connor Uten is the hardest worker. And please remember who's in this room.
Yeah.
People like Younger, people like Anthony,
Yeah.
who physically just look at Anthony.
Yeah.
I bet that man, I'm curious what he weighs in the off season. I wouldn't be surprised if he just kept his weight the whole season or the whole year. Yes, and Michael Caliendo is just so good. He's probably one of my favorite Iowa wrestlers in a long time. Iowa State fans will get mad at me for saying that, but he's a really talented guy, and it's going to be a really fun match. They're going to go head to head.
They will,
and it's going to be
And it's conflicting styles, which I love.
Yeah, I think that's so fun.
Is very, very fast. Tries to wrestle in space, is very good in that. Uten wants to be in your face. Like, there is not a gap small enough for Uten. He wants to be right there. And he'll grind his forehead into you. He'll do all sorts of things. We saw it last year in the match, the heaviest tips I think I've ever seen. It's insane. So I'm very, very excited for that matchup. Great pick.
So when we look at this lineup, you know what? Before I ask you the next one, do you think they start traditional?
I have gone back and forth on that. So this is going to bring up Younger Bastida. Is that okay? I know we're going to talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Ben Keeter is coming off of off-season hip surgery. A little bit banged up, has wrestled here and there this season. People aren't really sure if he wrestles. If you go traditional and Iowa State is up by 3 or more, my guess, this is a total guess, is that Ben Keeter does not wrestle if Iowa State is up by 3 or more going into heavyweight if you start traditional. So I'm wondering if Dresser or maybe the Brands don't force their hand and say, you know what, let's start at heavyweight and let's find out who's wrestling. Who are you really going to wrestle? So that was a thought I had earlier today of, does Dresser try to force the Brand's hand and say, who are you wrestling? Throw them out there now. Make the Brands have that decision early. That all of that said, I bet they go traditional. It's a duel on ESPN.
Too.
You don't need to confuse national fans, casual fans more than they already will be. Start traditional, 125 to heavyweight. That said, I think there's a potential mind game to be played if they want to.
I didn't even think about that. That would be fun.
Yeah, there's levels to this. And I've got just the right conspiracy theory tinfoil hat on.
You really do. And I think the Brands usually go traditional.
They do. Yep, they typically do.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm going to think about that.
Yeah. And you get in at 197, which is another match we'll talk about later.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you my next question, then we can just get into those two big matchups. But if you had to pick, which one's your wild card? Which one do you think is really up in the air, could get crazy? What are you thinking?
Yeah, my wild card is another Frost twin, Evan Frost versus Jake Ayala. They're right there in the rankings. Drake Ayala is ranked 3. Evan Frost is ranked 6. Evan Frost beat Drake Ayala last year 11-7 in the dual meet. And I think it's just a great matchup. They have similar wrestling styles. I think it's going to be really fun. This is obviously Evan's first time down at 133, assuming it's a good cut. So I think that's the biggest key for Evan is cut the weight well and cut it right. If he does, I think he has a really good chance at winning. If he's not feeling like Evan Frost, though, I don't think he'll get bonused, but I don't think it'll go well.
Okay.
So that's my toss-up. I think if Evan is feeling really good weight-wise, I think he has a really, really good chance at winning.
Well, I feel a little positive in that I feel like when I've seen Evan, he looks a lot healthier than he did last year when he was making the cut. So I'm really hoping that it has been a little easier than it was last year and that he's able to kind of recoup and get in there and feel strong. Probably better than he did last year.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's a great match. Drake Ayala also, number 3 in the country, very talented as well. So, but he's beatable.
Yep.
I think for mine, I shouldn't say I think, I know, is definitely 174 with MJ Gaitan and number 2 Patrick Kennedy, or as he's also known as PK. I just am MJ Gaitan's biggest fan. I love his style. It gives me high blood pressure. I love how unpredictable he can be. And I love just how amped up he gets. He really is kind of like a wrestler in I'm going to say WWE, right? Like the dramatics of when they celebrate, that's acting. MJ Gaitan isn't acting.
Nope.
Like he just gets so amped up. Like he almost it's like he loses himself in the excitement of him doing some crazy roll around the mat and getting a pin.
Yep.
And Patrick Kennedy, he's number 2 in the country. I don't need to say much more than his ranking speaks for him. Very, very good wrestler. Most of Iowa's wrestlers are always really good. But I just feel like if MJ has truly honed in, right, like cleaned up those parts of his wrestling, the dresser has hammered, like he just needs to clean it up, tighten it up a bit. But he still holds on to those like crazy, like millisecond things he does that just throws his opponents off guard. I think he can do it.
Yeah.
I think he can do it.
He got close a couple years ago.
Exactly.
What was that match, 14-13 or something like that?
I was going to say, I got to look it up. And he's grown so much. And I'm just hoping, 14-13.
Yeah.
Like that's high scoring.
Yeah. Super high scoring. 27 points.
And I hope it is just as chaotic, but of course, obviously hoping Gaitan wins this time. But I just really feel confident in his funkiness, his ability to catch his opponents off guard.
Yep.
Because Dresser said all last season, all he needs is an arm.
All he needs is an arm and a head.
Yep. And I just see it.
Yep.
I just see it. And there's something to be said about guys who can thrive in that underdog position. And I think MJ's one of those. I think he thrives when he's doubted, when he's coming in and people are underestimating him.
Yeah.
And he's definitely the underdog.
Oh, for sure.
No one's looking at that match and thinking, I don't know.
I'm sure most people picking this duel have that as a lock for Iowa, which is fair. I think when I picked this duel, I had that as a lock for Iowa as well.
And that's valid.
Yeah.
I totally get it. That's the one I'm looking at where I'm like, MJ Gaitan.
Yeah.
What do you got cooking?
What are you going to do?
So, I hope it's, again, barn burner. Just give me barn burner matches. So, speaking of barn burners, you know what's funny? I'll make a quick side note. We have not talked about Angelo Ferrari once. We didn't talk about him at media availability. I haven't really talked to him with other people, and he's the number 1 guy at 184 pounds. I will say I'll give it to Iowa. Angelo Ferrari's probably winning that match.
Yeah.
High chance here. But I think this is a really great opportunity to see Isaac Dean really pushed.
Yeah. Oh, he'll be
So-
pushed.
I'm excited to see how Isaac Dean performs.
Me too.
Against Angelo Ferrari.
Yep.
Angelo Ferrari is a very fun wrestler to watch. I'm very excited.
Yep.
Very.
Yep. To me, that's one where don't get bonused.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Isaac Dean is good. He's ranked number 10.
Yeah.
So fringe All-American. Angelo Ferrari is very, very, very good.
Yeah.
So this is one that's similar to David Carr a couple years ago, right? When David Carr, number 1 David Carr wrestled whoever the number 10 guy was, we're like, oh yeah, bonus points.
Hang the towel.
That's what I was thinking here.
Yeah.
So for Isaac Dean, wrestle really hard, don't get bonused, see what you can do.
Yeah. Okay. We can't talk about every single match,
Sure.
but let's just, do we want to do Rocky first or do we want to do Younger first?
Let's do Rocky first.
Okay. Rocky Elam, number 2 in the country. He wrestled at the Cyclone Invite, didn't wrestle in the home opener because his training's just a little different. All right. He's been a little hurt over his career.
Yeah.
And so he's just smart and in tune with his body. He has said he feels fine. He's ready to compete and he's very excited for this. But I see so many Hawkeye fans talking smack on him. They're just like, yeah, he's losing. Like, that's it. Just matter of fact. Yeah, he's going to lose.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. Which I get it. How do you pronounce his name? I don't want to mess this up.
Massima Endine. I'm
Endine.
pretty sure.
Okay. He's ranked number 4. He's doing great. He
Yep.
has Iowa fans riled up. But I just don't appreciate that people are talking about Rocky Elam like he's some chump pulled out of some random back road brought in to wrestle for the Cyclones.
Yeah.
He's literally a 4-time NCAA All-American.
That's it?
Just
Out of how many
4.
chances? 4 times?
Just 4.
Wow. So he's a 4-time All-American and 4 chances. Okay, what else?
2-time conference champion. He's been on the podium and let's see, in 6th place, 3rd place, 4th place. Oh, wrong way. 6th place and 3rd place at nationals, and 5th place.
Yep.
Gosh, his accolades are just so long. I can't even figure them all out here as I'm trying to read them really fast. Let's see. He was the Southern Scuffle champion.
Yep.
He was a MAC champion.
Yep.
And, just casually a junior world champion.
Oh, that's it? He was the best wrestler in the world at his weight, at his age?
Something David Carr did,
Yeah.
by the way. And he's smart. NWCA Scholar All-American and academic All-Big 12 selection. Just want to throw that in there. But again, it's like so many accolades in here and people are like, oh yeah, he's losing. I'm just like, the disrespect.
Yeah, it's silliness. I do want to say NDN is very good. He's a 3-time Division III champion.
Yes, no need to him.
Wartburg. So he's not from Iowa, but Iowa kid in that he wrestled in the state of Iowa in college to begin his career. And he has had some really good wins. He has. I will absolutely concede that point. He does not have the resume of Rocky Elam. So we all just need to calm down.
Yeah.
Hop off of Twitter for a little bit and take a few deep breaths, because I'm not saying Rocky will win and it'll be dominant, but I would be very surprised if Rocky lost. Very surprised.
Yeah. It's no hate to Iowa's wrestler who I'm excited to see how Rocky, again, it's another one of those like measuring sticks, right? Like, this is a really good competitor. We haven't seen Rocky go up against someone super tough yet. So this
As
is
an Iowa State Cyclone.
Yes, as
Yep.
an Iowa State Cyclone. So I'm excited to just see him in action.
Absolutely.
But let's not act again that he's not good, even though I kind of butchered reading all his accolades. But I'm
That's
not
all right.
kidding. It's a long list.
Yeah. And to be clear, I'm very excited for Endine. Like, as a human, super excited for that guy, because
said
this
that.
is a guy who had to go to Division III, started wrestling late in his career, did incredible, and now gets an opportunity to Iowa, one of the premier wrestling schools in the nation. So, like, shout out to him. That's awesome. And honestly, I'll be rooting for him outside of this duel and outside of nationals.
Yeah.
Because I think he's an awesome story. I do not think he beats Rocky.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
I agree. All hate to the people on Twitter.
I'm barely on Twitter anymore, so they can tweet at me all they want.
Well, speaking of hate, younger Bastida's getting some hate.
Which is
Iowa
silly.
fans love to hate him.
Which-
and I love that because I think younger loves
I hated
that they
Thomas
hate him.
Gilman too.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. That said, I don't know that I ever convinced myself that an Iowa State wrestler was going to beat Thomas Gilman.
That's-
Right? Or Spencer Lee. Like, I never sat there like, hey,
No, no.
maybe we beat Spencer Lee this year.
Hey.
No, that's not a thing.
I was celebrating with when Corey Kabambon.
That was
took him
incredible.
down. I took video of that. I have that on video.
If that match would have gone 2 more minutes, I'm convinced Kabambon would have won. Spencer Lee was in trouble that match. Shout out to Corey Kabambon.
Yeah, wherever. he
Flying
is.
Hawaiian. I assume he's back in Hawaii. I have no idea though.
I actually think he's still in the area.
Is he really?
We don't have time
Okay.
for this. Anyways, number 1, younger Bastida. I should have queued up a photo. He's huge.
Yeah.
I seriously think he didn't change weight very much from last season, but I think he just put on more muscle.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
How?
And so Iowa didn't wrestle Ben Keeter, correct? Against
Pitt?
Gosh, yes.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And so, like you said earlier, curious to see if he goes or not. I don't know the extent of how he's feeling. We'll have to go back and watch Tom Brand's availability. But let's hypothetically say, they do go up against each other. And I would love that because they'll have to do that again in March. But I just don't understand how Iowa fans feel so confident about saying Younger's going to lose.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I don't think it's based on any sort of reality, if I'm being completely honest. Younger is, he's ranked number 1, first of all. Second, I think he's just physically more gifted than Ben Keeter. I think Ben Keeter's an incredible athlete. I think he's a very, very good athlete. Younger, to me, is without a doubt a better athlete.
Yeah.
I also think Younger's a better wrestler. Younger wrestled 1 time last year with a very badly injured knee that kept him out the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And beat Ben Keeter. So if Younger's healthy, which he is,
Yeah.
and Ben Keeter isn't fully healthy, which doesn't sound like he is, Younger Bastida would win that match.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's... I know Younger's come up a bit short in NCAAs here and there. I get that. I think that was a one-off. I don't put a lot of stock into that really at all. And I feel incredibly confident that Younger Bastida wins that match. Like if you're giving me a match that I'm the most confident Iowa State wins, it's that one. Like,
Yeah.
and I'll eat my words. I'll eat my words if somehow Younger Bastida loses. I will come on this podcast and I will give Iowa fans all the credit in the world. But Younger Bastida will win.
I said the same thing about Rocky Elam. Happy to eat my own words if he loses, but I'm saying I don't think he does.
No.
Ben
And-
Keeter did wrestle against Pitt, by the way.
He
did? Okay.
I didn't watch the end.
He won
but
2-0 over Dayton Pitzer, who was ranked 12th.
Yeah, Dayton
at the
Pitcher's a good
time.
wrestler.
Well,
Yep.
there you go. 2-0.
Yep. So no takedowns in the match.
And we're talking about Younger, who almost makes it his life mission
Yeah.
to score as many points as he can every time he wrestles.
Yeah. And Ben Keeter's normally a high scoring wrestler too. So that's an interesting result that there was no takedowns in that match.
Yeah, that was the one I didn't watch, but I could have swore someone told me. Whatever.
So yeah, I think that'll be a very fun match. I think Ben Keeter's a good wrestler. He's good on top. So when Younger chooses bottom, it'll be interesting to see how well he gets out from bottom. But on their feet, I don't think Ben Keeter can hang with Younger at this point in his career. I don't think anyone can hang on their feet with Younger, but Ben Keeter as well. He just can't keep up with Younger.
No, I think the only match I can think of that Younger will have at some point that is questionable is AJ Ferrari.
Yeah.
That's the only one. And again, we don't have time to talk about that right now. You guys can go look up AJ's social media. He's insane.
Yep.
He's eating 12 steaks a day or something crazy. But give us your prediction.
My official prediction is Iowa State wins 18-13. Iowa State wins 6 matches, all by decision. Iowa wins 4 matches. One of them is a major decision. That's my official pick.
I'm too scared to do that. Sit and really write out the scoring. I have a strong feeling Iowa State can definitely win this.
I think they can win.
I'm very superstitious.
I'm saying they will. I'm putting myself out there for like the 5th year in a row.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel that they can win. I sit here and I look at some of these matches and I'm convincing myself, oh, Iowa State's winning.
Yeah.
And I need to not do that. But I do feel that Iowa State is better positioned against the Iowa team that's coming to town.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel super concerned about any of the weights.
Yeah.
And usually Iowa State has a hole. There's always at least one hole, right? 165 or
97 for a
yeah,
while.
like there's always like one clear weak spot. And I don't know that I feel Iowa State has one.
No,
So,
I would agree with that.
and I think that's really good because bonus points are going to matter. It's going to make the difference. It has made the difference in the past. So even if Iowa State doesn't score a lot of bonus points, making sure Iowa doesn't either
Yep.
is what will matter.
Yep.
So
Don't get caught on your back.
yeah, I feel good about Steve-O's matchup unless Iowa throws in that young 125 pounder. I don't know anything about them. So, but Steve-O's already beat Dean.
Yep.
So beatable.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about Vinny Zerban. He's ranked number 3.
Yeah.
And we don't know anything about him.
I don't
mean, we do. We know
know.
he's an All-American.
What
but
the heck? I can't wait to see him in action. Yeah, he's the biggest mystery for me, and it's very frustrating as I vented to Ben about. So I'm very excited to see him in action as well. So yeah, there's a lot of these guys that, removing even just the rankings aside, like you said, Vinny Zerban's an All-American. And we know how hard it is to be an All-American.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be a good duel. And I'm excited. I love really tough and chaotic wrestling duels.
I think this will be that.
ESPN's in town. So again, that's a huge deal for the sport, huge deal for Iowa State. I asked Dresser what his morning will look like on Sunday, and he just told me the team schedule. So I really just wanted to know what he's doing, right? Like, I bet he's waking up at 4 a.m. drinking coffee.
You think he's waking up? I think he's pulling an all-nighter. I don't think he can
just
sleep.
Full, no sleep.
Yeah.
No sleep. Just doing push-ups.
Yep. Push-ups, pull-ups, sauna. I'm sure I'll be in the sauna.
I'm sure that's what the brands are doing. They're doing pull-ups in their sleep. So
Brands haven't slept since like 94.
that's so valid.
Also true.
No, I think it's going to be a really, really good duel, top to bottom.
Agreed.
Because, like I said, no holes.
Yep.
So, all right. Final thoughts?
Let's wrestle. I'm excited. This is, like we said, second favorite weekend of the year.
Yes. Well, special treat on this pod. I don't even know how long Ben and I have just talked for because I can't see the timer. But I did.
38 minutes.
Nice. I did bring in Eli from the Des Moines Register. He covers Iowa high school wrestling, the 3 state school programs, and just, I think, high school sports in general.
Yep.
He says it in his introduction. But Eli is really, truly my Iowa expert. He covers the team so closely. And I thought our conversation was really great. So I hope you guys enjoy that conversation. If you're a huge wrestling nut, you'll enjoy it. He gives a lot of insight into just Iowa's lineup and really what he's expecting. We question his thoughts on Younger Bastida and Ben Keeter.
In a big way. No offense, Eli.
So, yes, if you don't want to listen to anything about the Hawkeyes, turn this off.
But you should listen. It is a good conversation.
It is. Eli does such a great job, and I love that he didn't come from a heavy background of wrestling or Iowa. I love that he's just a very neutral, unbiased. He really doesn't have any stake here.
Yeah, he's a Michigan State guy.
He's really, truly here because he loves the fans. He loves the sport. He loves covering the athletes. So it is worth listening to. He's a great time. I learned a few things that I didn't even know about just some of those guys in the lineup. So enjoyed that conversation. And as always, Ben, this is a pleasure. I hope we come back next week and talk about a win.
Or at bare minimum, a younger Bastida win. I can't be talking all that and have him lose.
That's so funny. True. Again, you got to listen to us yap for way too long, courtesy of Fareway. And yeah, go Clones, right? Anyways, guys, enjoy the conversation with Eli. Hi, Eli.
Hello.
Welcome to Reaction Time. Special edition.
I'm excited to be here. First time for everything, right?
Eli, for people who don't know you, introduce yourself. You cover wrestling and high school football?
All high school sports and wrestling. So anything and everything in that realm, I'm usually around for. So between all the college programs, there's 4 of them with Iowa, the Iowa women, Iowa State, UNI, high schools. We're finishing up with the high school finals this week for football, and then we're going to roll into wrestling season. As soon as we get done with wrestling, then it's gonna be Drake relays, then it's gonna be baseball, and then we start all over again. So
you don't really have an off season.
No. Baseball and softball in the state of Iowa, it's nice though, just because in the summer there's at least something going on, instead of just it being completely dead.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that, but yeah, it's definitely we just go step by step. Yeah.
Well, and the thing too is you're not from Iowa.
No, I'll do the Michigan thing for everybody. I'm from Southeast Michigan. So I grew up there, went to Michigan State University, and that was where I actually got my first taste of wrestling, was working for my student newspaper, the State News. Didn't wrestle growing up. I had friends of mine who did, but, I thought I was, whatever. And then they would put me in weird holds, and then I didn't. Yeah. And so I had a lot of respect for it. And then I started covering it. And then when I got done with Michigan State, the spot at the Register opened up, and I was like, this is kind of a perfect match, just because I learned very quickly with the state of Iowa how much it loves its wrestling when I covered a Michigan State wrestling duel. And I love my Spartans, but, it's not a big wrestling community. And Jennison Fieldhouse, that's where Magic Johnson played basketball. And it's an old building. And it's, nobody really showed up for wrestling duels. And I show up there's Iowa fans tailgating. So the year the NCAAs was in Detroit, I went out there and I was in an empty parking lot. I think it was like 35, 40 degrees, raining. And there's one Suburban in this lot 3 hours before the title matches. And it's 2 Iowa fans drinking Busch Light in the back of a Suburban. So, I learned very quickly how great how awesome this community is. And it was like when the job opened up, it was a no-brainer because I was never going to cover a community this unique and also that had this much passion. So it's been a blessing over now. This is my 3rd year on the beat. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I don't think I had heard that story about the 2 Iowa fans.
Yeah, it was I think it was actually like a couple of Iowa fans, and then might have been like a Cyclone fan with them too, if I remember right. This was it would have been 2022, so now going on 3-4 years ago. But I for NCAAs was freelancing for the Detroit Free Press. And I didn't know that when you left from one session, if you came back, your parking pass wasn't good to get in. Oh. So I had to pay $50 for a lot somewhere in downtown Detroit, and there was nobody else in this lot except for those fans tailgating. They're blaring Metallica, and they're ready to tailgate before then. I'm like, it's 40 degrees, it's raining. I didn't understand Iowa wrestling. That was my moment where I was like, oh, okay, this is different.
No, I love that. I can't believe it's been 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's part of like that schedule is its flow. Like it's not only just like the high school stuff for me sometimes, but the wrestling schedule doesn't stop, right? Like you get done with the season and then all of a sudden it's, the national tournaments for the high schoolers. We got Fargo and a lot of those tournaments, it's qualifying for world teams, Final X, all that stuff. And then you get to Worlds, and then all of a sudden the college season's here again. So it's
insane.
It keeps rolling.
It is insane. No, I think you've been a great addition, and
Thank you.
have really enjoyed your coverage. I think it's been really fun.
Thank you.
Just having someone who is not from Iowa and who isn't like in it the way I would say like I was, just having grown up in Iowa, but. No, I love that. I hope people are excited just because, you know more about the Hawkeyes than I do. I do my best to follow the team. But this year I feel like I haven't been as deep diving quite yet, but lucky for us, the season is hitting the road running, and we have the Cyhawk duel on November 30th. ESPN's coming back, which I feel like for people who maybe keep scratching their heads or wonder like, oh, why does ESPN keep picking them? I mean, I think that alone is a testament to just how passionate fans in the state of Iowa are, because obviously ESPN is going where there's going to be viewers, where they're going to get, they're going to see their payday from it.
Right.
And Iowa State is the best place, because from my side of things, I live in such a silo that I don't realize how small wrestling is everywhere else.
Right.
It isn't until I see the duels on TV that I notice like how empty some of those gyms are. And I shouldn't say gyms. Some of them do compete in gyms. But I remember when I watched the Arizona State duel, when Iowa State traveled out there, they have a spotlight, so you can't really see around. But then there was like a moment where like the lights flickered or something. And I was so shocked by how there was like no one there.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, when I covered Michigan State, and they have a program there that's been there for a long time, and they've had a lot of success. I mean, you go back to some of the early origins of like college wrestling. Michigan State has some really successful teams. And obviously there's just like an investment thing there. Sometimes, like, unfortunately, a lot of programs are looking at that in the Big 10, the Big 12. Like, I mean, there's a lot of programs that just don't have the same level of investment that Iowa State, Oklahoma State, some of these programs have. And like the energy, and I think like the atmosphere of it's so different because the state of Michigan's a great wrestling state, right? Like where I grew up, but like just the state of Iowa and its origins in wrestling and how it's grown is just so much different than any other state I've ever been in, because there's a lot of states like Michigan, you look at like California, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, there's all this great high school wrestling going on. Then you get to the college level and there's no other atmosphere like Iowa. It's so different. And that's the good lens to it being on ESPN, because the entire state of Iowa tunes in for this.
Yeah. And I'm excited because there are new faces for sure on Iowa State's roster. People like Isaac Dean have been very, a big point in a lot of our conversations with him have been about his adjustment to being somewhere where people recognize him and people are walking around in wrestling gear. And I'm so excited for people like Isaac Dean and Steve O'Poulin and just like all those guys to be able to experience what the Cyhawk really is. I'm curious to know what ticket totals are once we get close to the actual weekend of the duel, but it's at Hilton, so selfishly I'm excited we don't have to drive to Iowa City, even though I do love going to Carver. I'm sure someone will get mad at me for saying that, but I'm excited. What are you looking forward to the most before we dive into the actual competition?
I mean, over the last 3 years, I feel like maybe last year not quite to the same extent because they had Iowa State had injuries right away and it changed it, right? But like I think the 3 years I've been here, when I kind of started coming to the preseason, it's like, oh, this duel's gonna be like close. This year it's that same thing of thinking like this is one of Iowa State's best teams, 25 down to heavyweight that they've had. They have a chance to be a trophy team. They're a top 5 team in my eyes in the country. Iowa just went and proved that at the national duels that they are one of the top 3 teams in the country. So on paper, this sets up to be a really, really close duel. Obviously, there's some things on both sides, guys being dinged up or guys, like Evan on his side, like, coming down to 33. And then, Iowa's got the Ben Keeter situation, which we're pre-Pittsburgh. So we'll see if we see him this Friday or not. But, there's a lot of little things like that it's like, okay, well, if this guy isn't here, this guy isn't there, it could swing it a little bit more before we get there. But on paper, like if both teams are fully ready to go or as ready to go as they can be, this is going to be so close. It's going to be a good duel.
I agree. I am anticipating it to get really funky. And I do think that with the team staying healthy, of course, I think that we'll see coaches pull their usual antics of having like 3 guys listed at one weight. And, forever in my brain it lives when Brand said, oh, this wrestler isn't coming out. Aiden, you might have a better memory than me. The heavyweight that was out. Remember they had the really dramatic come out?
Was it It wasn't Jacob Warner, was it?
I don't think so.
Warner was 97.
Who
There
would
was
it
a
have been?
heavyweight.
Cassiope.
No, it wasn't Cassiope.
It was
the
before
guy
my
before
time.
him. It was
I
the
know
guy
that.
before Cassiope.
It was the guy
I think.
before Cassiope, and it was like really dramatic. His
What was that
friends-
guy's name?
This was before my time.
Yeah,
so
like,
yeah.
But these are like antics they pull every
Right.
year, and I love them, which is why I'm so curious what Dresser pulls in his lineup,
Yep.
just because, God willing, that they stay healthy. He has options.
Yeah.
He has options to move
Yep.
guys around to put together the best team he can
Yep.
to go up against the Hawkeyes. And I'm very excited for that just because I think the depth is there. There are guys that won't make the lineup that I think fans will be sad about because there's just so many good guys on this team. Like I'm constantly thinking, where's Jacob Frost going?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, no, I agree. I think it's going to come down to bonus points.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to come down to one of those, like you said, bonus points, and where it's like, does somebody get caught in a weird spot and get pinned? And then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, Iowa State's got to play catch up, or, oh, Iowa's got to play catch up. Because that's the other thing too, is I think both teams have a lot of guys that have, it factor, or like that spunk, or like that extra little flair. Dean Peterson, if you watched him for Iowa last year, NCAA tournament, he's wrestling against the returning champ and gets this funky looking cradle that comes out of nowhere, and it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like that can happen at any time. You look at Iowa State, what MJ Gaitan can do at any given moment he wrestles. Like there's just a lot of that. There's a lot of those types of things where I watch and it's like, oh, this could get weird.
Yeah, it definitely can. And especially because with Iowa State's team, at least, I feel like because there are so many guys mixed in with new faces, we really haven't seen them.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to expect. Is Vinny Zurban going in the lineup? And if he is, I don't know what to expect. Because as much as the Cyclone invite gave us something to work with, it's very different to compete in a tournament and then go into something like such a high stakes duel.
And I think that's one of the things too, to your point, like to think about with this duel, is that Iowa's coming off national duels where you were where they went Missouri, Illinois, rival Oklahoma State, then Ohio State. They got all of the preseason little, those jitters out, or some of that stuff where you kind of went out and you saw and you went, okay, this is what I got to work on. And I think the Cyclone invite for Iowa State did give some of those opportunities. Utah Valley is a really well-coached team. That is a really good team there. Then they've done a really great job from the last couple of years since that coaching staff's gotten there. Wisconsin, obviously, with Bono and having Iowa State ties, and they had a good lineup too that went there as well. So they got some tests, but I think it's also a little bit different when you're in Hilton.
Yes.
Right. And you're in Hilton, you're in a tournament. You're kind of like, like the crowd wasn't huge. That wasn't a Hilton crowd either, and it's like Nebraska Kearney, really good team. That's a good, the Division II champs. You don't go and do that unless you have some hammers in the lineup. And like, you definitely got those experiences out, but like, to your point on guys like Zurban or like Steve-O or even Rocky to an extent. And, it's Missouri has a good fan base. They have a really great program, but like the Iowa State duel is different. Like there's just some stuff that's going to happen that's going to get a little crazy. And so how is Iowa State going to manage that? They will have, home advantage, which I think helps you. But again, it's when you're still early in the season, you're knocking off rust, you're doing those things. It's like Iowa got that out of the way. So I'm interested to see how those two teams kind of manage that, because I think Iowa State has that advantage at home, but I think Iowa's got a little bit more of just got in the motions over this last week.
So for Iowa State fans who maybe don't follow wrestling like super, super close to where they're following all these other teams, what do you think Iowa's really bringing into this year's duel that's going to be Iowa State's biggest challenge? Yeah,
so in terms of like a biggest challenge, I think I've been on the record of saying this. I think this is Iowa's deepest team, like 25 down to heavyweight since they won their title.
Okay.
And it got proven this last weekend at national duels, because the big questions coming into the year were 49 and 197. At 49, there wasn't necessarily a guy that was coming in that was like, this is going to be the guy. Like, this is going to be the guy, and this is what makes sense. because you had Ryder Block and you had Kale Voinovich, also Miguel Estrada, and you had some other guys there. And we've since learned that, Ryder Block is not only healthy, but he had 2 top 10 wins over the weekend. So all of a sudden that 49 bout where maybe you were looking at Pinheiro or Jacob Frost to maybe you're like, okay, could that be a bonus spot? Now it's a little more of a question. All right, can you beat Ryder Block? Because Ryder Block is a really good wrestler, 3-time state champ from Shell Rock. He lost 1 time in his high school career, and that was to Drake Ayala. So he won Fargo a couple times. He's a really, really talented kid. He puts on a tough ride too. So 49 is the spot that all of a sudden, if assuming Ryder Block's the guy, it could be Kale Voinovich too, but that's going to be a tough spot. Whereas before, I think if you were looking at this in August, Iowa State's probably thinking bonus or hoping for bonus there. And then 97, Masoma and Dean has probably been the story of the season for Iowa so far. Coming from Wartburg, 76-1, 3 Division III national titles. He had a bonus rate 80-90% at Wartburg. But when you're at Division III, people are always going to say, well, he's very unique because he is explosive. He's athletic. He's strong. He only started wrestling when he was a sophomore in high school. And so sometimes he has a feel that I think is a little more unique versus guys who've been wrestling for such a long time, right? Where there was a match against Missouri where he's wrestling, I think it was Evan Bates of Missouri, and he's kind of in a front headlock, and all of a sudden the Missouri guy's not expecting it, just whip over, he's on his back, it's over. And it was kind of like a moment where I think even on the broadcast, you kind of heard not only the announcers, but everybody in the arena go, whoa. Okay, and Dean was a little more ready or a lot more ready to go than we thought they were. So in terms of a challenge, I think if you were talking about this duel come July, August, you were saying Iowa State's got guys 25 down to heavyweight. They're loaded and they have a lot of options. Iowa does too. And I think before the year, you might have said, hey, is 49, is 97, they look like they're going to be pretty good down the lineup. And they have options too, I think. At 25, you have a really talented freshman. They could use one of their days for Leo DeLuca. It might not be Dean Peterson. I think it'll be Dean 97, but you have a really talented freshman, Harvey Ludington. 57, you could have Jordan Williams or Victor Voinovich. So you have Gabe Arnold, who's there too. So there's a lot of options here for Iowa. So they're deep too. They got a lot of options. This duel, like we keep saying, there's just a lot of ways this thing could go.
Well, I'm definitely excited, and I know fans will be excited for Younger to officially be back on the mat. How are you seeing him and Ben Keeter? Let's just say Ben Keeter goes, right? We don't know for sure, but how do you see this rematch?
Yeah, so for context for Iowa State fans too, Ben Keeter this offseason, he had to have hip surgery, and right away against Bellarmine, he comes out, and it's like, okay. And then against National Duels, we don't see him. He at least did not weigh in on day 2.
Okay.
But he did travel there, and but he's in the probables this week for the Pittsburgh Duel. We'll see if we see him there, and we'll see if we see him for Iowa State. At this point, we don't know, but we'll see. But again, hypothetically, against with these two, last year I think both guys were banged up. So Ben had a hip injury that he was kind of dealing with for a while. I think he suffered it at U23 Worlds where he took second. If I'm remembering correctly, I know he suffered it sometime early in the year. And then obviously Younger. With
I was going to say Younger was at the time.
Yeah, we were. I thought going in we were going to get Daniel Herrera that day, especially since once we got to heavyweight, the duel was already over last year, and then and Younger came out and it was like, oh, okay, Younger must be feeling okay. And then obviously things weren't where they went. But with those two, there's a lot of I have a lot of questions about both. Just because Younger, it's like. We saw him at the Cyclone invite. He looked good. He wrestled the Raxon Amos from Wisconsin. He's a big heavyweight, and he's also really talented. So that one went down to the wire. That didn't surprise me too much. But, Ben is the same thing. I think he in high school and at Fargo did a lot of things where he likes to put up the points. And he likes to go score. He's not your normal heavyweight. Neither is Younger Bastida, right? And there's such fun heavyweights to watch. But they both have had their injuries. They both have, I think last season, we didn't even really know until it was after the year that Ben was feeling a little banged up. So I'm just very intrigued by that matchup as a whole, just because I think it's going to be a very big, if it does happen, it's going to be a very big learning opportunity for about both of those guys and where they are. Because I think any Iowa State fan who's watched this team knows Younger at his best is a national title contender.
Number one in the nation right now.
Number one in the nation, right? Yeah. And so at his best, I mean, he is unbelievable. The 2023-2024 season, I was on record of saying he is going to win a national title. And then obviously it went how it went, right? But Ben Keeter's the same thing, though. I mean, you're talking about one of the most talented heavyweights in the country. And so how healthy he is, where he's at, is going to be really interesting to watch for that bout.
Yeah. Well, and of course, I am always biased towards veteran guys. So I'm very excited to get, Michael Caliendo out there. I'm pumped for that. I was wondering if Aiden was going to have that video of Braves queued up. You don't have to queue it up, but it lives in my head rent free.
Oh, man.
But he is the one guy on that team that I do really, really like. I really like him. And then, of course, Patrick Kennedy. I think him and Iowa State will line up great. MJ Gaitan, they're built different physically. And I just think it'll be a really fun match, as MJ Gaitan always is, in my opinion, for the most part. But
it's walk on the mat, and you just don't know what's going to happen with MJ, and it's the style, right?
Yes.
And I think like Iowa State's kind of embraced it and said, we don't want to change you, right? Because we've seen moments where, holy moly, he's beating a guy that's really talented, but we've also seen moments where it's gone rough for him too,
Right.
And PK is so, I mean, at 74, he's a big guy. He's tough. He's going to bring he's going to pressure. He looks like I didn't grow up a wrestler, but like he just looks like a nightmare to have to wrestle because he's so strong. He's so physical. He's going to get in the hand fight. And Gaitan, he operates a little bit from space, and he likes to do some stuff that's a little unorthodox. So I think when they wrestled the first time, it was 2023-2024 duel. And that was the first time PK had actually went up to 74, was in that match. And I think I want to say they put up almost 30 points in that match, if I remember right. It was 20, 25 points maybe. It was a lot. I think PK got up early, and then Gaitan started to bring it back, if I remember right. It's been a couple years, but that was a wild one when it happened for sure. And so, that bout's going to be fun, no doubt about that.
For the Nebraska Kearney duel too, I noticed that when MJ was wrestling, you could tell that he was still honing in that, slowing down, being a little more strategic in his moves, which I know Dresser had talked about last season, maybe at Big 12s, about just getting him to, like you said, they don't want to take away his spunkiness and unpredictable moves and the way he just kind of bends himself into a pretzel to get the pin he wants, but also tightening it up so that he can, have more wins than losses from those funky moves he has. So I'm curious to see how he translates that against someone as powerful and difficult to go up against like PK. I'm trying to find that 23. I don't remember what month that was.
I might actually be. Well, it was November.
I found it.
If I remember right. Yeah, I was going to say, I actually have my Iowa notes in front of me. I could tell you.
Let's see. They went 14-13.
Yeah, so 27 points between the two, and that was Patrick Kennedy's first match of the year at that point. And Patrick Kennedy, when he came back, he was coming off like a minor knee scope thing too, and you could tell his gas tank wasn't fully where he wanted it to be at the time. Because I remember Gaitan caught up in that one, but that'll be a wild one for sure. No different than I think 65. You mentioned Caliendo.
Yes.
I mean, Connor is probably the best kept secret nationally just because of what he went through last year.
Yeah.
But if you had watched his season up until about, halfway through his match against Caliendo, I mean, he was going toe to toe with him until tore his ACL and those things happened. But his Cyclone invite, I think, was a reminder to anyone who was watching of, hey, this guy maybe wasn't the blue chip recruit that a lot of guys that are going to be in this duel are. When you look at both sides of this lineup, that is some pretty big time guys, but that guy can wrestle too.
Well, and in that duel on Friday night in Hilton, Connor Uten won by major decision, and he was pissed. He was so pissed because he wanted the tech fall. And I wish you could have seen it because it threw me off just how angry he was.
Yeah. Wrestlers are so interesting with that because there's so many of them that feel that way when they get done. I've seen it with a handful, like really on every single team where it's that way. There's a lot of guys with Iowa. I think Angelo Ferrari is one of those guys that like, I'm getting a tech like every time. And he's like, and if he doesn't, he's upset, right? Ben Keeter's probably the hardest of any I've seen any wrestler on themselves about like, and he wants to learn and he wants to also be like, he also is like, if I'm not pinning somebody, if I'm not putting up points, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of guys like that.
Well, and I know I'm personally also very excited for Angelo. Angelo Ferrari has been such a, I don't know, notorious name across the sport. And of course, his, at least from what I've seen as an outsider, his personality is a little more leveled. At least in the media, I should say, than his brother.
He's so interesting because he is very confident.
Yeah.
He's very confident. There was a moment at Media Day this year where somebody asked him, like, behind him on one of the, like the TV screens in the back was like the team cover photo for Iowa, and it was Drake, Ayala, it was Nasir Bailey, it was Ben Keeter, it was all the guys from last season or from previous years who were all Americans who were coming back. Like PK was on there and other guys. And someone said, "Oh, this year being in the lineup, are you excited to try and maybe join that crew of like all Americans behind you?" And he was like, "I love those guys, they're my guys, but I'm here to be a national champion."
Yeah.
You know, and there's a level of confidence with him where he's like, I know I am one of the best in the country. I know I can do this. But there's also like a very deep like hunger and want to be that. It's not just one of those things that he thinks is given to him. He works really hard. And one of the things that really caught me, not off guard, but I was like, when Brand said it, I was kind of a little surprised. It was at Media Day. He mentioned how Angelo Ferrari's been a leader in the room in terms of like bringing guys along, getting the young guys in and helping them grow and like getting them in the room and teaching them like, this is how we do things and bringing them along. And he's been one of those guys that the moment he's gotten to Iowa, it's only been positive. Like, this guy is a mat rat. He is dedicated. He's confident. And I still don't think he's been taken down yet.
Okay.
And he wrestled Carter Starachi and Dustin Plott last year. That tells you all you need to know. You know, he's a talent and he's confident. And he's really, really good at wrestling.
Well, it's going to be a dogfight, that's for sure. Eli, I appreciate you for coming. I hope Iowa State fans enjoy a little insight into what to expect from the Hawkeyes, just because I think there are definitely so many fans who maybe don't fully know what the team is actually like and the nuances of their lineup, especially this season after, you know, the portal season and who they brought in to fill some of those holes. So I'm curious to see how this ultimately works out for both sides. Obviously, again, a dogfight. Both coaches walk into this with a burning passion to destroy one another. And I'm excited to hear what the coaches have to say about it.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really interesting. I think this is a unique one in comparison to other years. Curious if you agree. I think at least in my past few years, this is a unique one just because Iowa State has gotten close enough to where they felt it and they knew, like, oh, we're going to do this. And then, you know, you walk away with some small mistakes that led to the loss. And now it just feels like Iowa State needs to get that win.
Yeah, I mean, it's 20 years.
Gosh.
I believe it's at least somewhere around there. I know it was around that time. I mean, I think there is like just I think from last year, there was that sense of urgency because I think coming into last year, Dresser mentioned it, and it was also not even something he necessarily even needed to say. You felt it last year. They were really confident last year in the team they had. Obviously, that all went out the window, and that's to no fault of anyone. It's just when you have that many injuries, it's going to happen, right? And they were really confident in the team they had, but by the time they got to Cyhawk, Casey was already done. I think Chittum was just starting to maybe work his way back. Uten tears his ACL in the duel. Younger wasn't 100%. There was so many things that happened, and all of a sudden it wasn't going to be their day. But this year, it's like, again, top to bottom, you can see this duel going a lot of different ways, and that's, I think, going to be just interesting to see how those teams handle the momentum swings because they are going to happen. There's going to be big wins. There's going to be overtime takedowns. There's going to be those things that decide this duel. And so how those teams kind of manage the noise and manage the lights and all that's going to be probably the determinant in a duel like this.
Well, there will definitely be a lot of lights with ESPN in the house and post-match interviews and all the craziness that comes along when ESPN rolls into town. So
it was a good production. The first year I was here for the Cyhawk, which was the first year they did ESPN, I got COVID. And I had to watch it from home, and I'm like slumped on my couch, like just dead in the back, like watching the duel. And I was like doing the live blog from home. And they did a really good job when it was on ESPN. They do a great job for the NCAA championships too. And whenever they do production, I mean, obviously they do ESPN Plus stuff as well. But I'll definitely probably have an AirPod in, I think, for the duel, just to listen to. I believe we were talking pre-show, like Shane Sparks is going to be there. Like I got to hear Shane Sparks. Like I just have to have it in my life. So
I'm tempted just to hear the winner interviews.
Yeah. I mean, those always stun me because for interviews, we always hear there's technically the cool down period that happens, but like at NCAAs and some of these big time events, that all kind of goes out the window.
Right.
And then a lot of times they're coming off, and I'm like, man, if that was like me when I was 18, 19, like I would not have been okay to be on a camera, like especially after I just, you're in front of however many people can sit in Hilton. How many is it? Like,
oh gosh, I can't remember.
I mean, you're sitting in front of thousands of people, and you get a win like that, especially if you're an Iowa State guy, like in your home duel, you got everyone behind you. I would have said some wild stuff probably in an interview.
Well, thank you so much, Eli.
Absolutely.
This is super fun. Thank you so much for your insight. I, again, love learning about any other teams, regardless of who they are. But no, this is fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Hope we have fun stuff. I hope we just have good matches. Some really
happen.
good wrestling
That'll happen.
to talk about after.
There's no doubt about that. We're going to get that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And like I said, he covers wrestling for the Register. So follow him on Twitter. Go check out his content. I like to read your stories myself. So highly encourage all of you to do the same. So thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks.